Okay, so I've just set up an engine crane. It's not really taking any weight yet. I'll just crank it up a little bit just so it's firm. It's just taking a little bit of weight off this engine mount, and I'm now going to zip this engine mount out. Just get it up and out of the way. I'll run that nut back on there so we don't lose it. Try again. Now the engine's going to be free on this end. I'm now going to head over to the transmission side. Now with the engine supported, I'm happy to undo these last two bolts. So there's one just in here and one in here. They're quite easy just to get with a spanner. There's good access, and again, once you crack them, they run pretty well. So let's get the first one out. Now this one's not actually fully coming out because there's a little bracket here, but it's certainly out. It's not screwed in anymore. And then there's one more. Now with this, you might get a little bit of movement. It shouldn't move around too much. And I'm noticing that this one's not just running out like the others, because this has a little bit of weight pulling on it. I'm just going to use an impact here because it's just going to be quicker. I haven't fully undone that yet, but I can see it starting to drop a bit, so just want to lift it up a bit. I don't want it to come apart, sort of wedging apart like that. Okay, and that's that bolt in the back there. Now also want to do, I've been careful while I do this, I don't want the torque converter to inadvertently get stuck onto the flex plate. I want it to stay in the transmission. So I'm just kind of reaching through there, giving everything here a wiggle. Be careful of your fingers because you want to keep them. I'm also just making sure it's not getting caught up on anything. Now at that point I can feel it, it's loose from the transmission. It hasn't caught up on the torque converter, so I'm fairly happy with that. Now that we're about to get this out, I just want to undo my fuel lines. So I'm just going to move this out of the way so it's easier to see. Okay, so these fuel lines, they've got some different clips, different countries, different regions, all different sorts of things here. So just have a look at what you've got. They've got these little safety clips here for mine that I just need to pop these out first, if I can get hold of it. That's it. So it does slide out like that. This can just be lifted straight up. They're sometimes still quite tight. And I'm just going to kind of prop it up there. Just don't want fuel leaking out. And again with this one. Now, interestingly enough, this one doesn't have that clip in place. So let's just see if it'll pull off. So we're going to have to fix that up, and it looks like it's a bit damaged here, so we'll have to fix that up before we put it back in. And like predicted, a little bit of fuel is going to drip out. Just push them out of the way. It's a good time to double check that everything has been undone, and I've noticed I've left this one. It's just squeeze in on the sides and then lift up. So I'm just going to give this a gentle wiggle this way, just Just make sure it's not caught up on anything. And I'll just give it a little bit of a lift as we go. There we go, it's popped free from the transmission. The transmission has dropped down a little bit. I do have an engine balancer here, so I can kind of get an angle right. But at this point, I'm happy just to lift it up on the angle it is. Let's just keep lifting up now. Looks like we're getting a little bit caught up on something. We have coolant rushing out, which is what we typically would expect. No, I think it's just really unbalanced, so I'm just going to level it up just because I like to see it coming up straight. If you don't have an engine leveler, look, they're about 30-40 bucks, just buy one. They're well worth the money. Just make sure as you're lifting it up it's not getting caught on anything. They're only a little engine, so there's plenty of room. I like just to give it a bit of a wobble as we go up, and then I'll know if it catches on something. I'll just back it up a little bit. Now at this point here, my engine hoist starts getting really quite close to the bonnet of the car. So I'm just going to stick this in, a bit of cardboard to protect that. And what I'm also going to do is undo the bonnet stay, sit that off to the side, because the bonnet has a significant amount more travel. Just going to make sure nothing gets caught up as we lift up. So at this point I've got plenty of room underneath here now just to slide this engine out. Just be careful, obviously the bonnet is sitting up on that engine crane. Looking back in here, the torque converter is still in place, we didn't let that slip out. And that mount that we sat in just in on the front here, that's holding that transmission up just fine. So I'm going to pull the rest of this out. Now I'm a one-man show here, so I've kind of got to hold the bonnet and pull this at the same time. Just till we get to the point that I can put this back on. Done. Now I can pull this engine out. Hey, so that is the engine now removed. You can see they're only a little unit here. Obviously turbo, cat there, but the actual, once you get down to the block of it, there's not much left here. Now looking at this one, it does look like a new oil cooler, new oil lines, obviously the new turbo, but I think we've got some internal damage. So we'll strip this engine down. I will do that on camera, so that'll be my next video. Hey, look, thanks for watching. Any comments, questions, concerns, make sure you write them down below, and check out some other videos.